the MLB All-Star full rosters are set. We have ourselves um, we got the actual lineups here. Well, rosters rather. So you got the American League roster right here. I don't think there's really too much wrong with that. But
No,
uh,
it's the National League where the problem is.
there it is.
Especially, I mean, there's two Cubs. There's two Cubs
Right?
that I really think, if you pull that up, there's two Cubs that I think should have made it. And one of them is Michael Busch at first base, and the other is Seiya Suzuki. Now, you got to remember that every team gets a minimum of one representative. That's why you see Kyle Stowers is there. Kyle Stowers, as good as of a player as he is, isn't an all-star level player. It's that simple.
They
It
couldn't just
really is
grab a
that
Miami
simple.
Marlins pitcher or something.
But their pitching staff has been so bad this year. And they're hot lately. They've won 10 of 12. The Brewers taking 2 out of 3 against them was their first series loss in a few weeks. But
Mm.
their pitching set, Sandy, outside of June, Sandy's been horrible. Braxton Garrett hasn't been great. Edward Cabrera has been decent. I mean, that's Edward Cabrera is probably their best pitcher, and even that, like, his numbers are not all-star capable. But Michael Busch, 939 OPS, fourth in the National League, seventh in the majors, 18 home runs on the season, and he's going to be spending his next week fishing in Cancun somewhere that isn't Atlanta, Georgia. That's absurd to me. Is that he's not in over a guy like Freddie Freeman? With all due respect to Freddie Freeman, not an all-star this year. I'm sorry. He's just not an all-star.
I agree. How Matt Olson made, I have no idea. Um,
Yeah, especially Olson. Freeman's numbers, they're good. Don't get me wrong. Freddie Freeman's still a great player, right? It's just Michael Busch has been better. If we're talking about all-star level players for this season, like the crappy part of the all-star game is that it's in the middle of the season.
yep.
That's the crappy part about it, because some of these guys might fall off post all-star break, late July, early August. They might start slumping. I mean, we've seen it in the past. We've seen guys fall off, and we've seen other guys go on tears. Christian Yelich, 2018, he was an all-star with some iffy numbers.
How about
He ends up
Yelich
hitting
now?
almost, yeah. Oh my goodness, dude. He
Start off really
we're
bad.
getting we're getting 1 year of prime Christian Yelich, and I'm enjoying every second of it, because he's 33, 34. We're not going to get this again. We're not getting this again. Getting back to the All-Star talk though, Matt Olson, yeah, I don't think he should have been there either. I think it's a little bit of Atlanta bias, because Atlanta is hosting the All-Star game. They're supposed to host it in 2021, but there was some like voter rights issues going on. They moved it to Colorado. Then the league ended up giving them back the All-Star game here this year. I think it's a little bit of Atlanta bias, because Ronald Acuna Jr. made it too.
That's
Why
exactly what
is
I was saying.
I'm no Cubs fan. I want to make that clear for everyone listening. I'm no Cubs fan. But why is Seiya Suzuki not here? Why is he not here? He is having the best year of his career. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's in a contract year. Yeah, contract year, best season of his career, and he doesn't even get the fan vote in.
Let
He
alone he's
doesn't even get
having.
the fan vote.
Let
Ronald
alone he.
Acuna,
Go ahead.
Ronald Acuna has barely even been here this season. This is a little bit of like pardon me, but it's a Mickey Mouse All Star here. I mean, we talk about that with like the the bubble NBA Finals, calling that a Mickey Mouse ring, right? That's what this is. This is a Mickey Mouse All Star. He's played 40 games this year, and yeah, he's been pretty good to great. Just 2 years removed from the best year of his career, MVP season. He's putting up on track for what would be another similar season to that. Yes, it's 40 games. It is 40 freaking games. The league has played almost 100 to this point. You can't put a guy in the All-Star game for 40 games of production. You just can't do that. And then you talked about Christian Yelich, how he's been red hot lately. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball since June 1, I think. You can't put him in for that either. As much as I would love to see him in, you can't put him in for that. It's 30 to 40 games of production. He doesn't deserve it. He should have been doing this the whole season. He would have 100,000,000% gotten in. I kind of hope he makes the home run derby. I kind of hope he gets offered and accepts because of that Barstool deal. I don't know if you've seen that, but Big Cat and PFT really, really need to hope Christian Yelich, A, isn't in the home run derby, and B, if he is, he doesn't win it. I'll let you look up what's going to happen because it's not suitable for work what's going to happen if Christian Yelich, A, makes it and B, wins it. But I kind of hope he does. He's about to hit 20 home runs. I mean, you got Kyle Raleigh, Byron Buxton, Shohei, and James Wood so far. There's 4 more spots. I kind of hope Yelich is one of them. Just give him one. He's getting towards the latter stages of his career. His contract expires in a couple seasons. I mean, just give the guy a home run derby. Let participate in just one. A, let the league should give him one. And B, Yelich, you should accept that. Accept the one-time home run derby. You're probably never going to have this good of a season again. Let's face it. He's full-time DHing, which is part why we're seeing this uptick in production again. He did play outfield on Sunday, but every once in a while I'll get him out there, get the legs moving. But I don't think we're going to see this production out of Christian Yelich again. I don't think he's ever going to be an all-star again, which really stinks to say. But I don't think he's ever going to be an all-star again, especially if the fan vote is still a thing. I'll let you get your thoughts in here.
So I just don't understand how Seiya doesn't get in. Obviously, me being a Cubs fan, but this is an unbiased opinion. How he doesn't get in is insane. He's leading the league in RBIs. He has 77 of them as of Sunday.
Right now. As of right now.
Right now, yeah, they didn't play yesterday. So
25 homers, career high already.
And that doesn't
already at a career high.
Game. But Ronald Jr. batting .311 in 40 games. He doesn't even have 10 homers yet, I don't think.
He's at 9 on the nose.
40 games.
It is absurd. I think the MLB is going to start seeing some of these complaints. Right. This is what happened to the NBA a few years back. They saw the complaints and they saw the memes of Zaza Pachulia. Zaza Pachulia had the second most votes in the Western Conference a few years ago, about a decade ago, and he was averaging like 6 points a game. But just because they just wanted to get him in. He ended up not being an all-star that year. The league did not allow that. And then the same thing happened with Alex Caruso when he first debuted because, bald white boy can hoop. That's awesome. He's an all-star. No, he's averaging 7 points off the bench. He's not an all-star. And he almost got in too. And the league said, no, we're not putting him in. So they take into consideration, I think they still do fan vote, but it's very, very lightly considered. It's like if there's a guy that the league is not really seeing produce, like let's say next year we're getting towards February and the East starters are set and it's going to be, I don't know, I'm just going to throw names out of a hat here. It's going to be Derek White, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Miles Turner, and Pascal Siakam, right? It's going to be those 5. And then your reserves, you got a few guys leading the way, but Bradley Beal for the now Miami Heat, let's say he goes there. No one's looking at Bradley Beal because the Heat are terrible, but Bradley Beal's averaging 26 a game again. They're going to put Bradley Beal in the All-Star game, even though no one's voting for the guy, right? So, like, that's what's got to happen here in baseball, is that we need to see fan vote not mean as much anymore. We can still have it. We should definitely still have it, but it needs to not mean as much. Because this is absurd. I'm notorious for being a not big fan of PCA, right? And it's not because I don't see what he's capable of doing. It's because I'm a salty Brewers fan. The Cubs are in first place, and PCA went from being a terrible hitter to holy crap, he has 23 home runs, right? Like
MVP.
I'm not the biggest fan of the guy.
No.
The what?
MVP odds now goes from role player to me saying all season. Beginning of the season, I wanted Bellinger. Obviously, I was going to say start PCA, but you still needed Bellinger. Well, Now that PCA is taking this kind of role, I was like, okay, well now, and then Bush is starting to heat up. Okay, I was like, wait, well maybe there is nowhere to put Bellinger, but you still can because Matt Shaw is still not hitting. He's batting like 220, 230 something. You put Bush over there, add a Bellinger with the type of season Bellinger's having, you might actually have a 60-win team right now. But I
Mm-hmm.
digress. They're playing well,
Yeah,
so
the current, according to Vegas Insider, PCA has the second best odds. And it's separated by quite a large margin
yeah,
because Shohei
Otani,
Otani
of
is Shohei
course.
Otani. But PCA's at plus 1,500. He didn't even open in the top 8 in odds at the beginning of the season. Shohei is a minus 1,400 favorite. American League, Aaron Judge minus 1,400, but Cal Raleigh's only plus 600. He's close.
Mhm.
He's closing in. He also didn't open the season in the top 8 in odds. Aaron Judge is plus 325 to start the year. But PCA, for as good as he's been this year, right? I'm gonna remove any potential bias from this because PCA has had a good season, great season, some would say. I don't like the strikeout numbers. I don't like how he really comes and goes in waves, but he's been great, right? Why is James Wood not starting this game? Why is James Wood not starting? James Wood has been better in nearly every statistical category this year than Pete Crow Armstrong. And yet the fans have dictated that PCA is the best outfielder in Major League Baseball. Why?
Well, I'd say they have a point. I mean, he's the best outfielder and center fielder in baseball because if you look at it, Mike Trout's not the same. Um,
Well, he's in right field now too. Like
yeah, he's at
he got
right
moved
field
out of
now.
center.
So you have to really look at like both sides of the like all three tools of the game. Well, five tools, but really three tools is used the most. So your hitting, your speed, and your defense. All three of those, well, all two of those, he's the best in. One of those, he's maybe second behind Wood. I think that's why he got in because when you look at total package, and this may not be all star worthy or all star caliber, like making a guarantee or all star picking, but he has a better arm. He has better defense, plays better defense, and he has more stolen bases, meaning he's faster. Obviously, Wood has a better bat. We all know that because we've seen the stats. I mean, if you tell me there's really no comparison, but if you really look at it, James Wood needs to be looked at with Ronald Acuna. That's the key right there. Those two
Yeah,
players right there need to be looked at as okay. Why is Ronald Acuna starting and not James Wood? Like that's absolutely ridiculous to me. That's what got me the most. I see I get it. I see why people say PCA isn't doesn't want him to start and things like that. But I mean he deserved to start him and Tucker for sure. But for
in the
Ronald
very
Acuna,
end,
stop.
yeah, in the very end, sure, I can give you the PCA start. Like when you look at the full rosters in the end, um, at one point I was very on the train of Corbin Carroll should get the start over PCA.
Yeah.
I just felt like he was because they're very similar ball players. I
Yep.
felt like he was just a little more developed than PCA. And
Mm-hmm.
I also was
Yep.
still under the assumption that this run by Peter Armstrong was not going to continue. I was under the assumption that he was going to hit the brick wall. It was going to come soon, and it just hasn't come yet. It just
It's actually
hasn't come yet.
surprising.
It is. He's been red hot all season. I hopefully for the Cubs fans in the area, if you can get PCA to continue doing this for quite a long time, you're going to be set for a while. Hopefully they can find a way to ink the guy to a cheap-ish extension. I know there were talks about that. PCA's camp says no, and they'll figure it out. But
Yeah, he want his money. I would too.
yeah, but I was under the assumption that Corbin Carroll was going to get the nod to start over PCA.
Mm-hmm.
He just does what PCA does at a little bit better
Similar
rate. The
players. Yep.
defense, yeah, the defense isn't quite the same. PCA is a better defender than Corbin Carroll, but Corbin Carroll is just as fast,
Yep.
steals just as many bases, He just doesn't get enough opportunities to score or drive in runs because the Arizona Diamondbacks are not very good. And Eugenio Suarez is hitting a few too many spots below him in the lineup to drive him in. But Eugenio Suarez making the All-Star game too. Good move. That dude, all he does is hit tanks. Hopefully he's a Brewer after this weekend, but we'll see. But yeah, I thought Corbin Carroll was going to get that nod. He's the more developed hitter. I think he's more well-rounded as a hitter. He's just as fast, and the glove's not as good, but I figured they were going to give it to him. He's the best outfielder on the Arizona team, and at the time, Kyle Tucker was your best outfielder in Chicago. Now it's a toss-up. I'm not sure what you think about that.
It's a good question. You got two guys right now that's really playing with Kyle Tucker, Suzuki and PCA, but
Best outfield in
obviously,
baseball, by the way. Best outfield in baseball. Ian Happ, too. He's no slouch. Best
oh
outfield
heck
in
no! I
baseball.
mean, you Gold
Chicago
Glove
Cubs.
defense every single season, Gold Glove defense. There's no season where he isn't a Gold Glover, like for a finalist. So now the Cubs have a decision to make: do you sign Kyle Tucker and keep Seiya Suzuki at the DH role and put him in occasionally, or you give Suzuki his money and so Kyle Tucker walks? I mean,
You
me
signed Tuck.
personally, there's no question here. There's obviously no debate here. You signed Kyle Tucker, like there's no debate
Absolutely.
here. Like
You're signing Kyle Tucker to one of the richest contracts in baseball history. You say ya, thanks,
we'll
but
give you
no.
something. We'll
Hey,
offer you something. It may
yeah.
not be what you want. It may be a little less, but if you want to go elsewhere, go ahead.
Oh,
See what the
it's going to be
market's
a
like.
lot less.
Yeah,
It's
I
going to be
mean,
a lot less. He's going to get a good payday. He's going to get a good payday. I have no doubts in mind with that, but when you have an opportunity to keep Kyle Tucker around for a decade plus, you don't pass that up.
yeah, you
Real
have
quick
to.
before we move on, Julio Rodriguez. Now, Julio, he's one of the Seattle representatives, but they already have Cal Raleigh. I'm not sure why they needed to have Julio in there. Brian Wu is also there too. Good job on Brian Wu's part getting an All-Star nod. But Julio Rodriguez batting sub 250, 11 homers, 50 RBIs. A couple weeks ago, his teammate, well, now former teammate, Rowdy Tellez, got released by the Mariners for hitting 210 with 11 homers and 40 plus RBIs. You want to know what their OPSs were? Julio Rodriguez is at, if I'm not mistaken, he's at 694. Rowdy Tellez was at 693 when he got released. Sorry, hold on. Oh, wrong Julio Rodriguez. LOL.
Hmm?
I looked at the OPS, I saw 577. I said, hold the phone. Yeah, Julio right now, 695. And I get the WAR is there because he's at a 3.4 WAR because of the defense and the speed, right? I understand that. That's why it's going on. But like when you look at face value, Julio Rodriguez and Rowdy Tellez have been almost the same hitter this year. And one of them is now no longer employed by a Major League Baseball franchise, and the other's in the All-Star game. Riddle me that. This is why the fan vote is so terrible. You can't do this. You cannot. It's absurd. That's all I'll leave this with. This is absurd.
Yeah, I mean, what last thought I got for it is I just don't understand why Ronald Acuna is a starter. He could be an all-star. He could be a reserve. How is he starting over James Wood? They say
Yeah,
it's a
reserve I'd
popularity
be fine with.
contest. It's a popularity contest. Oh, PCA got into a popularity. Somebody said in our group chat too. I ain't gonna say no names, but he said it was a popularity contest. I was like, how do you say that PCA is a popularity contest, but James Wood got snubbed out of a starting spot with Ronald Acuna? How did Juan Soto not get in, and Fernando Tatis did?
Yeah, Juan Soto is still putting up some good numbers this year, and he didn't get in. That was surprising to
Seiya
me.
got in,
Um,
didn't get in. Sure, he's an
yeah.
all-star, but Tatis got in. Stop.
Well, San Diego did need a representative, and they had Manny Machado though. They did have Manny Machado, who's
See,
now at 2,000 hits, Hall of Fame company. I don't like Manny Machado, but he deserved to get in. I'll give him that. Fernando Tatis not as much, but I mean every team needs representatives, and the fans deserve to be heard to a degree. Still, if they wanted Fernando Tatis in, look at the name value. Look at the marketing he provides baseball. Yeah, the steroids, sure, but he's one of the most marketable names in baseball. That guy's got to be an all-star.
and it's not like he was taking the
He's playing
steroids
devil's
to
advocate.
play better. He was taking it to recover his body. So when people are like, oh,
From like
steroids,
ringworm or
steroids.
something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't he have like ringworm, and he was taking this one cream to help relieve his symptoms, and the league was like, "Hey, banned substance. It has
For the league
kind
to
of
even do
human."
that is insane.
Yeah, it's like he had like a super trace amount of this like beta form of HGH. It's like, well, the ringworm's got to go away somehow. Let's be for real, right? So, yeah, he's still an extremely marketable player. The guy's got to be an all-star. Julio Rodriguez should not be an all-star. Ronald Acuna should not be an all-star. Reserve is still a stretch. I'd have been fine with that, but that's still a stretch.
Yeah, that's
Should not be
still
an
a stretch.
all-star.
Yeah, 40 games is not enough sample size to say you're an all-star, but
No.